someone do an intro, or is it
No,
just
this is the most unprofessional podcast you'll ever be on.
Oh no, that's high praise.
That was it.
All right.
Yay! It's Mike McCormick.
Woo! Yeah. Woo!
Are we going to do the usual thing, Mark? Where
you ask me how I am, and I say I'm good. How are you?
No. We're past that. I know. After 8 episodes in, I don't care how you are. No, I mean the usual thing where we get we're too lazy to introduce the guest, and we get them to introduce themselves.
Yeah, we should spring that on Mike. We should, because we are springing it on you. So we don't actually introduce anybody on this podcast. We let you frame your own reality. So what that means is you have to explain to the listeners who you are.
Fantastic. Okay. Do I have to explain to them why I'm here?
That's up to you. You can do whatever you want.
My name is Mike McCormick, and I am here because I'm available. Someone would call that desperate for attention, but no, I just call it it's a sound career move. I just try to keep all the dates and times open just in case a paying gig could come up. So yeah, and I've known Mark for what seems like 700 million years, maybe a little less, but
he described you to me as an arrogant worm, which I didn't quite know how to take that.
Well, it's essentially a character description and also a resume at the same time. I play in a musical comedy troupe called The Arrogant Worms. I could call us Canada's finest musical comedy troupe, but most years were Canada's only musical comedy troupe.
It does feel like that.
I guess it's a Highlander thing. We just keep chopping the heads off a little, and then it's fine. But no one seems to want to enter this lucrative world of singing fart jokes. I don't know. We've made such a massive career out of it.
But importantly, you have made a career out of it.
Yeah, we have made a career out of it.
It's pretty impressive.
It's stunning as a testament to not finding anything better to do at any point in our career. Honestly, the group started as 4 guys getting together on a university campus, doing radio sketches, trying to make each other laugh. Started occasionally doing songs, put together a cassette tape. For all you youngsters out there, a cassette tape is kind of like an MP3, which I guess even MP3s are dead. It's kind of like streaming, only with a strip of something.
It's like Scotch tape, but with music.
It's like Scotch tape, and the best part, if you leave it out in your car out in the sun, it takes on a whole new musical take. It suddenly becomes atonal, classical.
I used to use cassette tapes to actually scrape the ice off the window in our.
Well, that was what was great about CDs, because that really upped the game for ice scraping.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah. Multiple uses.
Yeah, and then as MP3s, like, well, these are useless. Digital only. Like, come on, this is no help at all.
Yeah, they weren't really thinking of the Canadian car owner when they switched to streaming services. And I'm surprised. Even when BlackBerry was like hot in the smartphone market, they never made one that could double as a good ice scraper. In the Motorola Razor, it was sort of like hard edged, They should have like the Motorola Scraper.
Yeah, in the first generation, you could just put the phone on the windscreen, and it was the heat from the battery would melt the ice.
Yeah, just as fast. Yeah.
Now, wait. Okay, so we got to back up a second. Who are the other worms?
The other worms are Trevor Strong and Chris Patterson. Chris joined the group in 1995, and we still like to call him the new guy. And the drummer of Rush, Neil. They always referred to him as the new guy. Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah, and
I thought you said there's 4.
Yeah, there were, and as soon as we started touring, one of the guys, even going from, at the time it was Kingston to near Ottawa, he for like a weekend tour, I believe he packed a hockey bag full of stuff, and at least half of the bag was full of hair care products. This was a man not destined for a touring lifestyle.
Okay.
Especially, like, can you imagine if he brought that to the check-in counter at Air Canada today? Like, and he actually had hair kind of like yarn. It was actually quite surprising that it took this much product to come up with that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So once again, and one of the hallmarks of our band is, well, you don't quit on us. We just won't replace you. That'll teach you. And because I have 2 engineering degrees, I was able to quickly point out that if you divide the huge amount of money by 3 rather than by 4, it's a greater number.
Wow. And I love how you slipped the 2 engineering degrees in there. That's
I just want your listeners to know I'm eminently qualified for this talk about CDs and cassette tapes. Like, I understand the subtleties of magnetic recording media.
So was the second one was a master's degree, right?
That's right.
Was it in metallurgy?
It was also in metallurgy. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I've always had the clever foresight to graduate from technical degrees in the teeth of recessions. It's surprising I didn't do another degree just now. I guess I've really learned. So yeah, there weren't a lot of jobs to be had, and when our band started to try to tour, it was basically I was going from being a graduate student to a Canadian musician, so it wasn't like an economic stretch.
Yeah, you were living the dream.
Yeah, I was living the dream.
And so this dream, and I guess this is where we have something in common. You guys were on CBC Radio.
Yeah, I mean the group essentially our start was CBC. Like we'd come out with these what we thought were very clever radio sketches and occasional very equally clever songs. And we had one song that was very Canadian. It was about cross-border shopping, which was an issue in whenever we wrote that, 1989. And it's the gift that keeps on giving if you're a border community. And so we got a bunch of our friends together into the radio station at the Queen's campus. And we, once again, the theme of this conversation seems to be cassettes. We got all these cassettes and mailed them to every show that we could find an address for. Remember those days when you had to like look through a book to find an address? And then the more shocking thing was that the cassettes actually made it to these shows, and 2 of them played it. So we ended up having a song played on national radio before we had material, essentially, or an act. And so,
wow,
yeah,
that's I'm both impressed and making a note to myself to book younger guests on this podcast. So,
well, good luck.
Yeah.
Once again, finding musical comedy acts, no matter how young. Good luck.
So, okay, who did you work with in?
Our first sort of national thing was with it was called The Radio Show, based out of Winnipeg.
Okay,
and then we had an ongoing thing with a show called Basic Black, which was hosted by Arthur Black and produced out of Toronto.
I worked on Basic Black. Yeah,
did you?
Yeah.
So did you know David Malahoff?
I did. Yes.
So David was kind of our champion. He sort of got us right away, and he liked the way we interacted with Arthur. David was the most amazingly organized human I've ever met. Like, he had the show planned about 8 weeks in advance, but was within that was able to, because we were touring at this point.
Right.
And so he just sort of say, like, well, when are you going to be back in Southern Ontario? And we'd sort of, well, it looks like we'll be in early November. Okay, well, these are a couple theme shows we're working on. If you have a song that has anything to do with that, we'll get you in. And then so we get in and then get a conversation recorded, and it went out to their loyal fans.
Wow.
And then Arthur moved out to Salt Spring Island, and we actually tried to move out west at the time, and that worked well. We were there for 2 years and got I think 3 actual bookings in BC at the time, but lots of bookings in Ontario. So yeah, the key to getting bookings in Ontario is put mountains in between you, and then the work just comes rolling in. And yeah, and then we also made some good connections with some of the regional shows. So our best was with in Ottawa, and once again there were just a couple people there. The noon show, for whatever reason, we just got along really well. So that was hosted by a guy named Dave Stevens at the time, and the producer was Liz Hay. So the same sort of thing. When we were in the area, they found a reason to have us on. Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's Thursday. Let's have them on, which was great. But the other weird thing in the whole CBC, and you would probably know this even better and have better tales than I can, is once you do one show, the rest of the CBC thinks you're their property and they cannot touch you. And there's this, I would almost, and I use the word arrogance, that every listener of CBC listens 24 hours a day and will somehow get ticked off if the same band is heard twice in, I don't know, a month by, 2 different shows. Oh, all you're doing is featuring them. So the success we had with one show basically cut us off from every other show. Like, people would always say, like, what, why haven't you been on, oh shoot, I can't even remember his name. Stuart McLean. We
Well, that's why you were never invited to that show, because you can't even remember the name of the.
that probably
Yeah.
didn't help.
Yeah.
But like, we were never on his program because we were Basic Black.
So we had homework, or I didn't know if we took it as homework, but I did. So
I did too. Yes.
Okay, good, cool. So what we like to do on this podcast is to ask our guests, it's show and tell, basically. It's the adult version of show and tell. Bring some piece of art that you would like people to know about. So what did you bring?
All right. Well, for my homework, if I was being a good, public school student and sucking up, I would have had like a nice poster and individualized to both of you. Well, here's something that I got for both of you. It's a CD, and and inside of it is a cassette tape. So I decided, since we were talking about creativity, and so I was trying to think of something that I thought really showcased that. So it's a piece of classical music called Appalachian Spring by the composer Aaron Copland. Now, it's a fairly iconic piece of music that has gotten used in many other forms over the years. So I did a little bit of research, and it was first written and performed in the early 40s, and probably was not very memorable because there were other world things going on apparently in the early 40s. The thing I find really amazing about this piece, and it's also about Copland. So Copland, and I think I'm finding this, and I don't know if this is similar for you guys. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. When I first started playing and writing music, I kind of had more of this vision of, it was kind of a gift of the gods. Like, some people had it and some people don't have it. And I still think that's true, but what I'm now realizing as an old grumpy man, and started realizing this, as one went along in the career, is that so much of it is craft, and so much of it is experience, and so much of it is dissecting every other thing that you've learned and seen and heard, and trying to make that into what you do. So Aaron Copland was trying to be a classical composer, but in his era, so he was born in 1900, you were not taken seriously if you were an American trying to compose symphonic music. So he traveled to Europe and started learning from people there. Although his most important musical theory teacher, and this is a little piece of trivia that I just found out last year from one of my daughter's musical teachers, is there was a very famous Canadian woman named Nadia Boulanger, who was the guru of musical theory. She just had a better way of teaching, and she was the one you went to, and one of her final students was Aaron Copland. There's a famous story of her, like when she met George Gershwin later on, because he thought, oh, I have to learn from her. She just sort of heard what he was writing and said, I can't teach you anything. Do what you do. It's great.
Wow.
So he goes to Europe and he tries to learn from these masters, and then he says, okay, this is all great stuff, but it's not American music. I want to write American music. And so he goes back home and starts trying to write American music. And he also starts experimenting with all sorts of atonal, awful stuff, in my opinion, and everybody else's. Just listen to it. It's crap. He would tell you it's crap. He's dead now, but he's still not proud of it. But this experimentation and all this knowledge, eventually then he starts coming around to, he starts finding his own voice. And it's music that somehow creates this feeling of space, this feeling of frontier, which European music didn't do at the time, probably still doesn't do as well. And no one's managed to do it better than him. And this particular piece started as a ballet, and it was supposed to be is a very simple story of like a young couple building a house on the American prairie, getting married, meeting people, and starting a life. And so it's got very simple themes. And one of the most famous theme in it is one he nicked from like an American religious group called the Shakers. And it's a very recognizable tune that's called Simple Gifts. It goes da 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 da. It became a hymn, Lord of the Dance, and I've heard it as a drinking song. But he turns it into, and this is where I get to sort of the craft versus inspiration. He takes this theme and it starts as just like one instrument playing, and then it goes to another instrument. It's almost like this orchestral ping pong going on. And then it becomes like the brass come in and everything else plays, and it becomes this big frenetic thing. And then it dies down to nothing again. And it's just, again, you're left with this theme that kind of feels like, oh, I'm out in the country, just looking around. I've heard many recordings of this. I've recently got to see it live at the NAC in Ottawa with a world-class orchestra playing it and still finding new things in it. And this is, again, another tangent and an aside. This was a concert that I wish every kid in the world could hear in that particular space with that good an orchestra. Because if you could walk away from that saying, I hate classical music, I hate symphonic music, then that's fine. You're right. Because if you can't like this, then no, this ain't for you. But until you've experienced that, you don't know what it can be, because in that, this wonderful acoustic space with wonderful players playing it, you get the full power of what an orchestra can do and what this music can do to you. I mean, I was in tears. There were other people around in tears, and parts of this piece are, like I said, it's like one instrument, like a 50-piece orchestra. It's just like one instrument going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that simplicity. It's almost like, and you find this in so many different arts. It's figuring out what to leave out. And in this case, Aaron Copland figured out what to leave out. And that was everything except this guy. But because most European symphonic music would never pare it down to that kind of thing, where it was just one instrument playing the theme and literally like nothing even padding it, it made it sound new and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Even though it's not like it's a new musical form. It's not like it's not even a new tune. He didn't even write the tune.
Yeah, I recognized the tune. I was like, I know that. I think I sang that. I think I sang that in choir. Yeah.
Sure. So sorry to bring this back to like early days of Arrogant Worms touring. There was a band that was actually from London, Ontario, a Celtic band, and I can't remember what they called themselves, but they were like most Canadian Celtic rock bands. They were the "We Drink Too Much" band, and but they had made a drinking song out of that. It was "Drink Then Wherever," because I am the drunk and disorderly. It was pretty good. And we get a whole pub like cheering and dancing.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, I've seen this as a ballet too, but there were fewer people puking.
I have so many questions about this. First of all, I'm struck that we started this podcast on a very humorous, joking note, and that your background is a comedian, and yet the piece of music that you're bringing forth to us and to anybody listening to this podcast is a really serious composition.
Yep.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Because I've known Mike for quite a long time, and he is, I mean, amazingly talented musician. And one of the things about the Arrogant Worms that was amazing was that they could imitate any style of music, and it sounded like that style. It was astonishing how good they were at that. So
right, because you are a serious musician. Then.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mike is a serious musician, and he always has been, even though, what comes out is like fart jokes, symphonic fart jokes, basically. Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me, but it's true. It's interesting how these two things blend together. And if I've noticed that we've only had, what's this, our 7th conversation like this, or 8th?
7th or 8th. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in there, that it does get serious, because it's a serious topic. Like, what moves you as an artist is a serious thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're kind of cutting to the core, and but within that, myself, and I'm pretty sure anyone else you talk to, if they actually care about it, it's gonna, maybe serious isn't the right word, but you're gonna get some passion. But yeah, I mean, within our band, it was like, yeah, we're going for the laughs, but whether you've tried to write or perform comedy, like, yeah, you can sometimes get away with fart jokes and falling on a banana peel. But if you're going to try and go with wordplay, you got to be pretty smart. And sometimes it takes a lot of sweat and a lot of toil to figure out that ass rhymes with grass. And oh wait, that could work.
Well, because there's some real artistry involved. I'm thinking, of course, the obvious example of Monty Python and their humorous songs, which
they were all like pre-law, weren't they?
Long and clever, really clever. Some of them, Eric the Halfabee, and what's the one where he's?
I'm going to start singing it.
Yeah, always look on the bright side of death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you play, Mike? What instrument?
Well, honestly, I started on piano, started playing guitar because it was hard to carry around to a college dorm room, and playing guitar that gets the girls, right. And
that's where I went wrong. Okay.
And stuck with guitar, became the guitar player in the band, and then over the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years, I mean, I worked for 6-7 years as a church organist. So learned how to play the organ, but mostly was playing piano there.
How did the fart jokes go over in church?
I kept a lot of them to myself, but I would still find different rhymes to the hymns that the hymn writer didn't seem to explore. But I'll tell you this, that once again, getting all nerdy, hymn writing is another form of songwriting. And the best hymns are these 4-line, very like A-B rhyme schemes. And some of them have go with the not a refrain, but the last line is the same each time, and very, very rigid metering. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is because, sorry to get into the weeds on this, but a lot of times when you were writing hymn lyrics, you wrote to a meter because you didn't write to a tune, because you assumed that the congregations couldn't read music. So they would learn certain tunes, which would have specific meters, and then just sing whatever words you gave them. A good hymn has this da 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 da, you know. And so, anyways,
Now, am I imagining things, or did you not play the trombone in Queen's Players?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, trombone was my instrument in high
Okay,
school,
there we go.
and I
Okay, got
love
it.
the trombone. Could I, if I could be, you know, lead trombone player in the Arrogant Worms, and I am, you know.
So, where were you when you first heard Appalachian Spring?
I was studying for an exam, and Aaron Copland had just passed away. I was probably listening to CBC, and so they were featuring that work, and it was probably fairly late at night. And I don't think I was doing particularly well on the studying, so I paid more attention to the radio than to inorganic chemistry. And honestly, it was a piece of music that when I heard it, and maybe there was other stuff going on in my life and I don't remember that, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. And again, I had heard pieces of it before. Like one of the themes was used for like a PBS program for years, and other snippets had been used in different things, because it does create such a sense of space and things. So it's the perfect music for like National Geographic specials showing, you know, the cheetah lies in wait for its prey. Oh, you know?
It's funny, when I was listening to it, I was like, is there like a Disney movie that's this? Because that's what was happening in my head, was I was seeing
Yeah.
like, you know, that 40s Disney animation that they did, you know,
Mhm.
Bambi with, and I was imagining like the flurries of the wind as, you know, blowing the trees as the leaves are starting to blossom,
Yeah.
and
So I
like it
think,
just kind of had that imagery to it when I was listening to it.
It put me in mind of Oklahoma, you know, the play, for some reason. It was, yeah, just that kind of
yeah.
vibe. And reading up on it, I thought one of the amusing anecdotes was that people would come to the composer later and say, it was so evocative of the Appalachian Trail. It really you really captured the Appalachian Trail. But apparently he didn't even have a name for it when he first performed it. The whole Appalachian thing came later.
Yeah, but it was still meant to evoke the space and the feeling and the frontier and stuff. But no, and again, like so many great works, it was kind of dissed. And again, because he was American, it was never taken seriously as a symphonic composition by the European snot nosers. And then because Mr. Copeland had ended up having a couple personal things run against him in America. A, he was gay. B, he was Jewish. C, he was very left wing. And you know, he ended up getting hauled in front of the McCarthy hearings and stuff like that. So
Oh, he was a part of that.
yeah, and
Mm.
so it was not even a part of American repertoire for years and years.
And it wasn't really in style then, was it? Like, wasn't this like around the time Philip Glass was starting to do his weird stuff, and jazz
Yeah,
was kind of like seen as the American art form?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think it was more that, and you know, Copeland himself tried to go into film music writing for a while and wrote
Which makes
some
sense.
great
Yeah.
stuff. It wasn't for him. He didn't he didn't like, you know, like anything else. You know, you have to make the contacts and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it was just, you know, that's more an aside on the business thing. But I think it's now probably one of the more beloved pieces in, and I don't know how it's thought of in Europe, but certainly in Canada it's a beloved part of the repertoire. And you know, you can tell that just by how many tickets are sold when that's on the bill of any symphony, because most world symphonies are desperate to try and sell tickets, and so it gets played relatively often because it's great and people want to hear it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Has it had any greater impact on your life beyond enjoying it?
Well, I would say yes, in terms of it's inspiring and depressing at the same time when you hear something that hits you, that like that is great, and a part of you says, God damn it, I want to try and write something that good. And then the other part of your brain's going, there's no hope in hell, stupid. Stick to fart jokes. Like, and I don't think when Copland wrote it, he sort of said, well, this is my best work, I'm out. See you at the sandwich shop. You know, he kept working away. And even that piece was reworked several times. Like, it was initially a ballet for 12 instruments, and then was turned into a symphonic piece, and then expanded, because when he first did the symphonic piece, he cut it down to half an hour, and, you know, different things like that. So yeah, I would sort of say that's kind of a template. Like, I would like to, you know, hope that the next thing I write synthesizes a whole bunch of stuff, including, you know, this conversation, and somehow finds a way to go somewhere different that I haven't gone before. But it's still going to be me writing it. So
Okay, so now I need to know, because it sounds like you are attempting some serious songwriting, and probably have been for some time. So what have you come up with, and what are you working on?
Well, it's not even that, you know, tomorrow I'm going to write a symphonic piece. Lately, I've been, you know, sort of trying to go back to kind of first principles, and try to write kind of pop songs from the basic tools, but at the same time, then trying to go in a different way. And part of it, again, without getting into the weeds, is like, I've really come at this whole music thing backwards personally, because, you know, you know, went through engineering, met a couple guys, started telling jokes, started performing, you know, ended up making a career in it, and then started saying, you know, getting to the point where, you know, it was kind of a combination of realizing, you know, I'm not actually that good a guitar player, I should get better at this. And then it's like, oh, you know, I'm actually not that good at, I should actually learn about the music thing. And then you start finding out, oh, you know, it looks like I was doing a few things right just naturally. But then you start realizing, oh yeah, but now that makes sense. Oh, I see why that chord, that makes sense, because that's the 50% of the frequency of that. You know, you can get uber nerdy. So, but yeah, the one thing, and it's funny, and maybe it's part why this conversation is happening. Like, Mark and I reconnected through a bunch of our old college friends months back, and we, with another mutual friend, were trying to work on a musical. You know, this would have been what, 35, 40 years ago,
It
like,
would have been
you know,
89,
a while
I
ago,
think, 88,
a while
something
ago,
like that. Yeah,
you
a
know,
while ago. Yeah.
back in the cassette tape era,
Yeah.
as we were moving to the compact disc era.
About to
And
buy all of our albums for this third time as the CDs came in. Yeah.
that's right. and that's one of the things that, within the group I've been with, the strength of what we do is writing individual songs that are 2 to 3 minutes long, and that's what we do. And we've never been one of these creative groups that suddenly wants to tell our fans, okay, this is what we do now. We've sort of realized that this is what we do. We'll keep doing it, and we're still willing to play the first song we ever performed. If you want to hear it, that's sort of the way we do things. But that doesn't mean I still want to do stuff that has a bigger narrative. So
Right. Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm in a certain place right now, both life and location wise, where I got time on my hands.
How is Manitoulin, by the way? You moved
It's
to Manitoulin Island, right?
yeah, it's gorgeous, and you know, I used to think living in Renfrew County was the middle of nowhere, and boy, that was an urban mecca compared to this. So it's like, you know,
It must be gorgeous this time of year, though.
oh, it's great, and it's funny. Like, again, telling the same stories to new people. Like, again, fall and Christmas, I've always been icky times for me because I'm colorblind, and so people will point out like, oh, look at the beautiful fall colors. Yeah, fuck you. It's big sea of green. Like, whatever. Oh, look
Wow.
at the lovely Christmas lights. Yeah, it's a tree. But no, it's like we had a beautiful day today. Went for a hike in one of the area hiking trails, and saw some good stuff. So yeah, it's I'm hoping that this is a whole new opportunity on many scales, because to go on yet another tangent, but Manitoulин's an interesting place because it's got so much indigenous culture and history here, and the indigenous population is such a high percentage of the people who live year round. And hopefully we're entering an era where where the rest of Canada, we're going to start dealing with this stuff. So hopefully this is a great time. I'm going to be positive here. Hopefully this is a great time in the history of this country to be in a situation like this and watch it grow. Like, hopefully it's a chance to learn like a whole bunch of different storytelling and a whole bunch of different stories. And then hopefully that comes into, like I say, the next thing that comes out, even if it's another fart joke.
It's more all grist for the mill.
Yeah, that's right.
So what did you think of it, Mark? Appalachian Spring.
I really liked it. Actually, it's funny because you're talking about it, Mike, and it's like it kind of reminded me of Mozart a little bit, because I think there's a couple of pieces of music he does where he does that sort of thing where it goes from one instrument to another. Now, probably it's not completely alone the way it is in Copland's piece, but there's a little bit of that, and kind of I like that. That's because Mozart was my guy. I wrote a book about him, so that I kind of like immediately went there. And then I thought Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Because it has that kind of, it does sort of have that kind of feel to it that you see in those, like, so it wouldn't surprise me that he tried to do music for movies in that time period, because it sort of seems like the right kind of symphonic sound.
Because that's when that Warner Brothers Looney Tunes was coming out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the.
So did he influence Bugs Bunny, or did Bugs Bunny influence him?
It probably was. He probably influenced them, I would bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and yet another tangent, but the summer before pandemic, we got to see a show at the NAC that was Bugs Bunny at the Symphony. So getting to watch these cartoons with the symphony playing, and A, it was awesome. But B, like they did have some nice stories about, the pieces, like the main composers for Warner Brothers. Like, he was a big fan of certain operas, Rossini, so Barber of Seville, obviously, but there were other pieces, like they sort of played. There's one piece that I think it's called Carnival of the Animals, but it was like the Bugs Bunny, or more the Roadrunner, like chase music, and it was like played at like 6 times the tempo that was originally supposed to be played at. So it was funny they did that. Is they said, now this is the song as it's supposed to be played. The guy conducts it, and it's a nice sort of slow march, and this is how you're used to hearing it. And it was great. And it was also, once again, this is the fun of seeing a symphony, to actually see them physically. Like, it's not, even though it was music, it's a Roadrunner cartoon. So like it's like Coyote chasing a Roadrunner and eventually getting squished by a rock. But the technical skill to play that at that tempo, like, it's not like a second year music student can pull that off. You need it at this level of an orchestra to pull it off. So it was kind of neat on all these like little levels. That's part of what made that music great for those cartoons, was that it was brilliant writing and brilliant performance to have a rock fall on a cartoon coyote and go
yeah. I would say the same thing as some of that era of Disney stuff too. Like, not all of it, but some of it, like the one with Mickey Mouse where he becomes the wizard. That one, Fantasia, is that right? Yeah. Fantasia.
Yeah.
Also, like, the music is amazing in it.
Yeah. and the
Yeah.
syncing of
Yeah.
it. The brilliance of it, especially for people our age, is that if you just played the soundtrack, you can see the cartoon. Like, that's how well it goes together. It's musical art on its own, but the whole with the cartoon and the writing of the cartoon, it just creates a whole new form, which is genius.
And there is a fart joke in the Appalachian Spring too.
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really cheeky. I can't remember. It's like near the end. It's not the end, but there's like a part where when they put the the plunger inside the trumpet, it goes, "Brah." And I was like, "Is that a fart joke?" I'm not making that up, right, Mike? I remember that.
Yeah. Oh no, it's probably passed off as no. They're just working the fields.
Yeah. I imagine a cow or something, or oxen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was my thoughts. Yeah, I didn't listen to it twice. I just listened to it once, and I didn't do a whole bunch of research. I was tempted to, but because I thought for sure I'd heard it before. And then for sure the little hymn that's in the middle of it, I know that I sang that in a version of that in a choir at some point.
But now, will you listen to it again? Did it make your Spotify playlist?
Well, I don't have Spotify because Uncle Neil told me I shouldn't anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Neil Young.
Rock on, Uncle Neil.
Uncle Neil Young.
I do miss Neil on there.
Yeah. So I used something else. But yeah, I'll listen to it again because I do actually like classical music. I listen to it. It's one of the favorite things I like to play when I'm writing, in fact, is classical music, because I can have it going and it can inspire me, but it doesn't direct me in any way because there's no words. The same thing with jazz. If it's just instrumental jazz, I can listen to jazz. And I find jazz a bit harder, though. Well, actually, some classical music, too. It's hard to not get distracted by how cool it is. But I used to.
I do. I have a mellow playlist which I keep adding to all the time, and Appalachian Spring made the mellow playlist. It's on there, so I will hear it many times in the future.
Cool.
Now back to the Arrogant Worms.
Okay.
I'm curious. So you guys did and do musical comedy, and there is despite your assertion that this isn't necessarily a hugely lucrative gig, there are other people out there who do this. I'm thinking of people that I worked with on CBC Radio, like John Wing and George Westerholm, who did that sort of thing and recorded them doing comedy musical bits. Now, do you guys, commingle? Do you influence one another? Are you aware of one another?
Not really anymore. I mean, there used to be, when we were touring a lot harder, we used to get more bookings as part of a bill, or we used to get bookings occasionally as the musical act at a comedy festival, or we've been booked at literary festivals as the musical act. But those things were drying up for us pre-pandemic. So this past summer, we actually finally got to do a couple gigs where we were at like folk music festivals. And that's the only time we ever get to see and, interact with other acts who are doing the same sort of, musically at least, the same kind of thing that we do. So, no, the life of a comic or musician in this country, if your income is from live performance, you don't cross paths that often. Even if you're in the same town. Unless there's one particularly cheap hotel that all the venues book, then you might see them at the Continental breakfast the next morning. And I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So yeah, and I mean, like even this summer, getting to see a couple acts that we hadn't seen in a while, and you try to think of ways like, how could we work together? And it's, you have to find a reason to do it that you really want to do it, because it makes no economic sense, because no venue's going to book two acts that have about the same drawing power.
Right.
Or
it's a little too bad, isn't it, that it's so economically driven?
Yeah. It's as soon as you decide to do it for a living, it kind of, unless we can go back to the era of Mozart and find a patron, and essentially, the whole pandemic. That's what we've done. Is we go through this portal called Patreon, and we record a song every month, and there's a lot of people who are fans of the band who give us $1 a month or $5 a month or whatever. And I think a lot of them, they just want us to keep doing it, which is great. It's fantastic. And it's, again, there are yucky things about this internet thing, but the ability for groups like us and a lot of different artists to connect directly with their fans and have their fans directly support you is pretty awesome.
Mark, any final words or thoughts on our guest, or Appalachian Spring?
Yeah, I got some thoughts. What's really cool about this is that it shows you how, when you're working in the creative environment or doing a creative job, almost anything can be your inspiration, right? Like I would never have guessed that was what you're going to bring to the table, Mike. I wouldn't have. And I love that you did. But it could have been something else, and I would have been probably equally inspired by it. So I think that's kind of what's cool about what we're talking about, and how creativity springs from many sources. And as Mike said, it's also just craft. So you take pieces, you learn little pieces, and they go into, I call it my hamster wheel. I got the idea hamster going all the time, and he just gets fed on everything. Everything goes in there. You never know what's going to stick, though. And then some things really do.
Well, here I can probably use a quote that may turn out to be like a whole new tangent or a great closer. The other thing I was thinking of bringing was actually a golf advice book by a golf teacher named Harvey Pennick. And his entire approach to teaching golf was a series of anecdotes about different students he taught. And so he had one story about people had asked him, like, should I get angry when I make a bad shot? Like, it really doesn't seem like what golf is all about. Like, you shouldn't lose your temper. And his thought on that was, when you hit a bad shot, you should be pissed off. You want to hit a good shot, don't you? You don't want to hit a bad shot. But the key is after that. So yeah, call yourself every name in the book. Like, don't throw your clubs or whatever, but call yourself every name in the book. You deserve it. You hit a bad shot. But then stop. Because the next shot you hit might be the best shot you've ever hit in your life. And that's a line that hit me like a ton of bricks. Bam! Yes. Even though I'm shooting a 914 here on the back nine, and that windmill just keeps getting in the way, this could be the time.
Yeah. Also, why Mark Twain said of golf, spoils a good walk.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It is a good closer. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Appalachian Spring. But
they're both American.
Yeah. Now, there wasn't a sequel, was there? Appalachian Summer, Appalachian Fall.
That's right.
Probably not, because, like you said, he didn't really name it.
That's right. Yeah.
But he wrote other things in that period that have a similar sound. Like, I will throw in, like, the first actual Aaron Copland piece I ever heard was a piece called Fanfare for the Common Man, which again is a big brass thing that you probably heard, da 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 da. But where did I hear it? One of the first rock bands and rock concerts I ever went to was Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And they did that. That was the opener of set 2 with Keith Emerson playing it with knives.
Yeah.
Probably not how he envisioned it, but it still rocked.
Thank you very much for being on this podcast.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mike. Nice to see you.
Oh, that was fun. You too.
And now, without further ado, the Arrogant Worms and I Am Cow.
I am cow, hear me moo. I weigh twice as much as you, and I look good on the barbecue. Yogurt, curd, cream, cheese, and butters made from liquid from my udders. I am cow, hear me moo. I am cow, eating grass, methane gas comes out my ass, and out my muzzle when I belch. Oh, the ozone layer is thinner from the outcome of my dinner. I am cow, I've got gas.
You've been listening to Recreative, a podcast about creativity.
Talking to creative people from every walk of life about the art that inspires them.
And you're probably wondering, how can I support this podcast?
I am wondering, Joe, how can I support this podcast? I mean, apart from being on it.
There's no advertisements in this podcast. There's no tip jars. There's nothing about like buying us a coffee or anything like that. But there is a way that you can support us.
And what is that?
It's not about supporting us. It's about supporting the people that we're talking to.
I think most of the people we've talked to are artists of some description, and they probably have some kind of artistic product that you could buy. And if you enjoyed it, maybe you could review it for them.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe us too.
Yeah, you know what? Us too. It wouldn't hurt. They could buy our books.
And how do they find us?
Recreative.ca.
Don't forget the hyphen. There's a hyphen in there. Re-creative. I took your line, sorry.
Well, because I stole your line. So yes, re-creative.ca.
Jinx.
Oh yeah, I stole your line again. As well, if you like what you've just heard, you could consider subscribing to the podcast.
And leave a comment if you like it.
Thanks for listening.
Spread the word.